Namaskar. Thank you for watching my previous video clip on the Chausath Yogini Temple, Hirapur, Orissa, India. I express my sincere gratitude to all the viewers and subscribers of my YouTube channel across the globe for your overwhelming comments and feedback, which have inspired me to make a more informative video on this subject. And pranam to all my teachers in the spiritual space who have guided me at the various stages of my life. That includes my introduction to the world of the yoginis. I would like to thank my friends Sanyal and Tanmay Chatterjee for their last-minute inputs while making this video. I also thank the local priests of the Chausath Yogini Temple who had performed puja for us when we went there in March 2021. In the second part of the documentary, I have spoken about Saraswati, Virupa and Kaumari housed in the Chausath Yogini Temple, Hirapur. Now, in the third part, I will talk about all the animal-headed yoginis that you find in this temple. Not all the yogini figurines at the temple have benign human faces. Some have the faces of demigoddesses and animals too, probably because they don't belong to the orthodox Brahmanical tradition. In the Chausath Yogini Temple, we get to see the boar-faced Varahi, monkey-faced Murati, the buffalo-faced Brishabhanana, the bear-faced Bhaluka, the lion-faced Narsimi, the snake-faced Sarpasha, the elephant-faced Matungi or Vinayaki, and the horse-faced Jwalamukhi. They were primarily the Grama Devatas or local village goddesses and the tribal deities who had undergone major transformations with the rise of Tantra in ancient India. These non-Brahmanical goddesses had been consolidated under potent numerical groupings of 64, 81 and 42, and later on were included in Hinduism. As we explored the other cultures of the world, we get some insight into the Nepalese, Greek, Roman, Tibetan, Celtic and Egyptian traditions of the goddess cult. As you enter the temple and start walking clockwise, you come face to face with the 9th ornamented yogini figurine. She has a boar face and she's called Varahi. She holds a skull cap in the unbroken left upper arm and reminds us of the occult and tantric practices. Varaha is one of the 10 incarnations of Vishnu, and he is portrayed in the ancient texts as a gigantic boar supporting the world on his tasks during the time of a great cosmic crisis. Some ancient scriptures mention that Varahi is the female counterpart of Varaha. The Varahi temples in India are found under various names. Chaurasi, a small village on the bank of Mahananda river close to Bhubaneswar. Patal Bhairavi at Varanasi. Varahi at Mylapore, Chennai. Brihadeshwarar, worshipped during Ashada Navaratri at Thanjavur. Uttari Bhavani at Gonda district. Dadhania at Dadhana village in Gujarat. And Navashakti Mahavarahi Devi at Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. The boar-faced tantric goddess at Chaurasi has a fish in her right hand and a skull cap in her left hand. Probably Varahi is considered as a shapeshifter because we observe changes in her appearance, postures, weapons and vahan or vehicle as per the Puranas and the various other religious sects like Shaivas, Vaishnavas and Shaktas. The Shaktas consider the deity as a manifestation of the goddess Lalita Tripura Sundari or Dandana Naika. In the ancient Indian scriptures, Varahi is often associated with Kamala, one of the Mahavidyas. The deity is depicted as a boar with 2, 4, 6 or 8 arms and 3 eyes, and she is seated under the palmyra tree. Being the 5th among the Saptamatrikas, she is also known as Panchami. In Devi Purana, she is referred to as Vaivasvati or the female counterpart of Yama or Vivasvan. In Vamana Purana, she is shown arising from goddess Chandika's back. In Markandeya Purana, the goddess is praised as a granter of boon and protects the northern direction. In its Raktabija episode, she is also depicted as a boar seated on a corpse and slaying the Asuras or demons with her tasks. As a tantric goddess, Varahi is also known as Dhruma Varahi. In Tibetan Buddhism, Vajra Varahi or Vajra Yogini is one of the Dakinis. In Nepal, she is known as Borahi. In Egypt, Shai, female counterpart Shet, is the god of fate, and he is a serpent-headed pig. In the Celtic tradition, the boar-faced goddess is referred to as the Old White Soul. It is said that she should be worshipped between sunset and sunrise, either on the 5th day from the new moon or full moon, and preferably during the midnight. The association between the human beings and animal form of sculptures often reflect the psychological state of our mind. In Tibetan Buddhism, the boar represents general and material attachments, greed and lust. Vajravarahi represents the controlled energy of courage and fearlessness when these dark emotions go out of control and gain momentum. In China, the boar represents the wealth of the forest, while in Japan, the boar depicts courage. The Celts and Welsh traditions believe that the boar represents courage and strong warriors. The boar-faced goddess reminds us that we need to stand tall and take up any challenges by horn, and not to succumb to the arrogance and greed. Invoking her reminds us of the ultimate truth in life. The 11th Yogini, a four-armed monkey-faced figurine, is mounted in the Dvibhanga pose on a camel with curling long neck. I did not find much on this yogini, but there are references of Vanara or monkeys playing significant roles in the Indian epic Ramayana. This yogini is being named as Ostragriba or Murati, the devotee of Rama and the son of wind god Vayu and Anjana. Hanuman is one of the key characters in Ramayana. This divinely powerful male Vanara form, revered across Indian households, is the god of wisdom, strength, valor, devotion and self-discipline. His tantric form is the Panchmukhi Hanuman, and we do find his counterparts in form of Sun Wukong, a Taoist Buddhist deity and the Monkey King, the Egyptian god of baboons, Babi or Baba, and the howler monkey god in the Mayan civilization. The 18th Yogini is Rishabhanana or Vindhyabhasini. She is a two-armed figure mounted on a cave-like or a flat-roofed house with a pathway in the middle. Her face is a buffalo head and she has a fierce expression. Her hair is disheveled and is in the form of Jatamandala. I could not find much on her or her male counterpart except for a reference of the Yama who rides a buffalo, or like a shapeshifter who transforms himself into a buffalo. The 25th Yogini, Bhalluka, is the two-armed bare-faced figurine with raised hair in form of Jatamandala. The ornamented form holds a damru in the upper right hand and she is mounted on Padmalata or lotus creepers. In the Indian epic Ramayana, we do find the reference of the bear king Jambavan, who is the advisor to the Vanara or monkey king Shugriva. Jambavan's daughter, Jambavati, an incarnation of the goddess Mahalakshmi, was the second principal consort of Krishna, and we find a reference in the epic Mahabharata and also in the mythology Bhagavata Purana, Harivamsa, and Vishnu Purana. The Indian Bhaluka can be associated with the shapeshifter Celtic bear goddess Artheo. Her name is derived from the Gaulish word for bear, Arthos. We find the evidence of her worship in Bern, Switzerland, and also in the Old Europe script, which was invented about 6,000 years ago. The Celtic ancestors came from the region that covered the modern-day Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, and they had brought their deities along with them. Helvetii, a Celtic tribe, invoked her as the she-bear, and later on, the tribe became a part of the Roman Empire. The impact of the cross-cultural influences led the Gaul and the Roman deities to take each other's attributes. It was believed that the worshippers of the goddesses Roman Diana and the Greek Artemis, who attributed to the bear, were majorly inspired by the Celtic Artheo. Stone figurines of Artheo were found in many parts of Ireland. It was also believed that the bear goddess was later absorbed as the British Saint Ursula or Little Female Bear, a Latinized form of the Saxon Ursel or the she-bear. Artheo is the goddess of shamanism, wild animals including bears, harvest, fruits and grains. The references of the reverence for the bear form amongst the Koreans and also in the Ainu community living in some islands of the Japanese archipelago have been found. The lion-headed goddess Narsini is the female counterpart of the fourth Vishnu avatar or incarnation, Narsimha. She reminds us of the Egyptian lion-faced goddess Sekhmet and the Tibetan Dakini Sendongma. And if I have understood it correctly, then I would say that like Yogini Chamunda, Dakini Sendongma also represents the crone form of the mother goddess or Adi Shakti. Throughout the centuries, lion has played a significant role across cultures and is considered a symbol of strength, valor, royalty, and protection in many religions and traditions, be it in the ancient Mesopotamian civilization, Asian, German, and African cultures. The Southeast Asian lion sculptures are majorly influenced by the Indian perception. As seen in various mythologies and cultures, the lion is either a destroyer or a protector. Here, it reminds me of the strength card in the tarot deck. This beautiful animal is portrayed as a vahan or a vehicle of the goddess Chandika or Durga in India, as an emblem to mark royalty and leadership on the Ashok Dharma Chakra, as the great Egyptian Sphinx having a lion's body and a human head. The Lion Man figurine discovered in 1939 in the Stedel Cave, Germany, is a 40,000-year-old image of a lion-headed man. It was 31 centimeters tall and was carved out of mammoth ivory by some sculptors of Aurignacian culture. Astrologically, there is a connection between sun and lion. Probably that is why we get to see the lion-headed gods and goddesses in different traditions are somehow associated with the sun god, like Sekhmet in Egypt and the Greek lion-headed god Aeon in Greece. Aeon also reminds us of the world card in the tarot deck due to the similar characteristics. He is identified with Cronus or Saturn, and in the Indian Vedic texts, Saturn is the son of Sun or Surya and Chaya. Mitra, one of the 12 Adityas in the Indian Rig Veda, is associated with the morning sun. The demolished ancient temple of Mitra on the banks of Chandrabhaga or Chenab river was considered as the westernmost sun temple of ancient India. The temple had a deity with a lion head and the body of a human. Later on, the Indian Mitra was included as the Persian Mitra, the god of fire and light, and he was later on included in the list of gods by the later Greeks and Romans. In eastern India, we get to see two symbolic sculptures of the mythical hybrid animal, Gajasimha, a combination of a lion and elephant, at the entrance of the Sun Temple at Konark. It is prominent in many temples in Orissa and South India, Sri Lanka and other Southeast Asian countries. It also reminds us of the mythical hybrid animal griffin with eagle head and a lion's body from ancient Greece and Middle East, and its origin dates back to Mongolia, Gobi Desert. Lamassu was an Assyrian mythical hybrid form with human head, eagle wings, and a lion or a bull's body. Narsimha Jayanti is observed during sunset on Vaisakhi Chaturdashi. The snake-faced yogini, Sarpasha or Chittala, also reminds us of the Eastern Indian snake goddess Manasha, one of the 5 Nagas included in the later Hinduism, even though their origin dates back to the early Indus Valley civilization. We are also reminded of 4 Egyptian goddesses, including Wadjet, Renenutet, Nehebekau, Meretseger, and the god Apep, the Greek god Asclepius with a single snake coiled around his medical staff, and Hermes or the Roman Mercury with 2 serpents entwined around his staff, symbolizing communication, trade, and commerce. In Greek mythology, we also get the references of the fearsome snake-haired Gorgons, including Medusa. The 9-headed Greek sea serpent Hydra was created with an intention to kill Hercules. There is a mention of a rainbow serpent in the Aboriginal Australian mythology, responsible for creating the cosmos, and the serpent deities in Norse, Mesopotamian, Celtic, Japanese, Korean, and Aztec traditions and civilizations. The snake goddesses signify fertility, transformation, healing, rebirth, and immortality. And in the Indian scenario, the serpent deities can be invoked on the 5th day after every new moon or in the month of Shravan. This deity, Matungi or Vinayaki, is probably a shapeshifter. Originally, the 4-armed Matungi is the tantric form of Saraswati, and she is known as Uchishta Chandalini or Uchishta Matungi. She is considered as a repository of Chausath kaulas, and this lesser-known elephant-headed figurine at the temple is also the female counterpart of Ganesha, the god who removes obstacles, grants wisdom, and restores harmony in our lives. She is a tantric yogini who is also known as Ganapati Hridaya, that is the heart of Ganesha. The Skanda Purana mentions about the elephant-faced female forms with the names such as Gajanana, Gajamukhi, and Gajasya. In Matsya Purana, Vinayaki is created by Shiva to defeat the demon Andhakasur. She is featured in the lists of yogini names found in Agni and Linga Puranas. The Devi Purana presents her as an obstacle remover. Shilparatna, the 16th century treatise by Sri Kumara, mentions about Shakti Ganapati residing in the Vindhyas. She is a 10-armed, pot-bellied deity with an elephant head and 2 trunks. The Buddhist text Arya Manjushri Mulla Kalpa refers to the goddess as Siddhi of Vinayaka. She is also portrayed as a daughter of Ishana, an incarnation of Shiva, and we find his reference in Vastu Shastra. She is also found seated in the Sukhasana pose in a 1300-year-old shrine of Thanumalayalan Temple in Kanyakumari in South India. There she is slender and has a battle axe, a conch shell, a vase and staff in her 4 hands. Her origin probably dates back to the pre-Vedic times. A damaged terracotta figurine of the goddess made before 5th century was found in Rajasthan. Other forms of Ganeshi have been found in Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. We also see the presence of the Hindu god Ganesh in other Southeast Asian countries due to the maritime trade and cultural bonding. The 4th day after every new moon is celebrated as Vinayaki Chaturdashi. The 51st Yogini, Jwalamukhi, is the 2-armed figurine mounted on a platform with 8 legs in the Dvibhanga pose. She has 2 raised ears and 2 long knots of matted hair hanging from the sides of her head. We do not find much on this yogini in the Indian mythology. Maybe she is a female consort of either Hayagriva or the female counterpart of the Ashwini Kumars. Hayagriva, he is the Vishnu incarnate worshipped in South India. He is the restorer of wisdom from the grip of ignorance. Hayagriva has a white-skinned Japanese counterpart, Batokanon, the god of knowledge and wisdom. In Indian mythology, we also get to know about the Ashwini Kumars, the twin sons of Surya or sun god, and they are presented as the healers. In the 4th edition of the documentary, I'll come back with more information and details about the other yoginis. Till then, stay tuned.